People, welcome to Weekly Jazz Dance. Presently I'm working on new publicity. It's COVID 2020. One of the key things now that's been accepted has been lifelong learning, lifelong managing, lifelong research and development. As a dancer who became a professional dancer, a contemporary dancer in 1986, I've been a professional dancer of other forms. Before that, as a professional dancer, I was asked to share my road to being the co-founder of the first ever contemporary dance company in Manchester. And they asked me to speak on, what benefits did dance bring to me. And these are some of the benefits. Dance improved my professionalism, my communication skills, my team building skills, my organizing and planning skills, my problem solving skills. Dance gave me self-confidence, improved my self-awareness, self-assurance, self-belief in oneself, brought about self-growth, self-development, self-improvement, people, brought around self-mastery of my body, self-mastery of my mind as a person who had been a victim of special education needs wrongly undiagnosed, because I was dyslexic and I was diagnosed as a slow learner. Now, what's the difference between the two? A person with dyslexia is deemed to have intelligence so they can learn, so they get support. A person who's a slow learner is deemed to be incapable of thinking on a higher level, incapable of leading themselves, leading others, managing themselves, managing others, developing themselves and developing others. You see the difference? So for 41 years, I was deemed as a slow learner, and I had to fight the educational system, or defy the educational system's expectations, low expectations of me, and did as an individual. And I used dance to do it, because I realized dance gave me confidence. And if you know anything about learning, it's those who have confidence, self-assurance, self-belief. If they try, they're able to learn. Well, that's what happened to me. As an individual, I knew that dance opened me up to leading myself, opportunities to lead myself, but also leading others and leading organizations. Okay? So in 1986, when I became the co-founder of the first contemporary dance company in Manchester, people never knew that I didn't look before I leapt. People never knew I wanted to become a vintage jazz dance producer, director, producer, choreographer, from the age in my early learning ages, and I strive to do that. Behind the scenes, I was going to musical theatre classes. I'd been going to dance class formal dance class from 1981. Involved in every 86, I was involved in African dance, Caribbean dance, from 81 to 86, hip hop dance, capoeira, martial arts, everything around dance, gymnastics, everything that you could do to become a professional dancer, I was doing it behind the scenes. What happened was, as an individual, I had undiagnosed dyslexia. I had trouble with exams, so I failed my O-levels 6 times in a row. And as an individual, wanting to go into the RAF, I decided I couldn't go in the RAF no longer. But furthermore, why I didn't go in the RAF, I wasn't thinking to go into the RAF as an officer pilot. I wanted to be a pilot, you see. Now, what happened was, you needed to get O-levels. I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer. I needed O-levels. But what happened was, I was on a YTS course to do with being an aeronautical engineer, whatever. I did well in projects. I had the best projects, but I was the worst in exams. Unaware that I had dyslexia, do you understand? I got offered a job to be a draftsman for a company, Holden & Brook, that made engines. Because my actual coursework was exemplary. I could design engines, I could explain engines, etc. The only thing I couldn't do was pass the exams. What happened? I passed the mocks, but the final exam I'd failed. Do you understand? Unknowing to myself. So one of the key things, what did dance give me? Dance gave me resilience, the ability to bounce back from hardships, because one of the things that happens with a dancer, what do you learn? You learn about trial and error. You learn from injuries. You learn from auditions. So one of the key things, you never give up. you just work out and you actually go to auditions to fail, because what you do, first of all, you're like an athlete. You go into the Olympics. Not few people have been to the Olympics the first time round and won it. What happens is you go to Olympics a few times, and then people get to know what's expected of them, the pressure bumps. The same in the World Cup. People in European Cup, football, etc. Many people get more experience of how to plan for the stress, the anxiety that you face, or the World Cup. Comes from going to it to gain experience. So young people, before as people won the cups, they went and got an experience first, and then understood how to prepare for these games, to prepare for the sports that they do. Well, it's the same in dance. We do a lot of auditions, and I went up and down the country to umpteen auditions. People didn't know, umpteen auditions, because I wanted to be I wanted to have opportunities in place, and if opportunities in a summer play, to work in a musical or direct, do stage management. I was doing this in my city because Manchester's got the most theatres in close proximity. So I got opportunities to be backstage helping out at theatres in Greater Manchester. I did that as well, and in further afield, I also did that as well. I just announced, can I come as a volunteer, maybe a day, maybe a week, and stay in the city where I was. I used to stay in youth hosteling places to do what I was doing. So the point I was making, it gave me self-motivation. So what did the benefits that I gained from it? It gave me self-motivation to explore what's involved within the dance as a professional. So professionalism, a lot of dancers do a lot of voluntary work, and I was an individual that did a lot of voluntary work to gain leadership skills, management skills, improve my team building, improve my communications, comes from being proactive, and that's what I did as an individual. So when the opportunity came up, I was already a producer and director of my own company and my own one-man show, already. So I had the confidence at the age of 16 to set off. Me and my brother created the seventh sort of development of Body Function, which started in 1975. Me and my brother co-founded Body Function in 1975. At the age of 10, I set up my own company. But before that, 72, I created my own flying solo one-man show, one-boy show in 1972 in Grenada. When I came to Britain, I was doing the one-man show here, and that set alight my opportunity because I was producer, I was the director, I was the writer, I was the composer, everything. And that opened up doors because it was that vintage sort of jazz feel to it. And people asked me to do it at the parties. So it was really brilliant. It gave me a lot of kudos. Parents to say, look, but Charles having a party, can you do this? Because what did I create? Stories, improvisational stories, and brought dance into it. It was sketches, basically, because that's what I saw at first. And I just kept adding real stories. And they're all around success stories. Guess what? I met, I'm called a swing kid. And the other day I met a swing girl. And that happened as a real story where, for example, in Spain, 1978, I won many of the disco dance champion dance competitions in the discos. I met a girl and her parents from the RAF in Germany. And I wanted to be in the RAF. And I met her daughter. Her daughter was a dancer. Her daughter was a club dancer, a disco dancer. I was. But her daughter did formal dance, tap dance and whatever. So we and her hit it off because she was into musicals. And I told her about me. And parents couldn't believe how much I know about musicals and how a daughter knew about musicals. And we talked about films that we liked. Loads of them, just reading them off. And she taught me something about tap when I was there. And I showed her some of the dances that we did. And then I saw her for ages. And then, for example, 78, we lost our dresses. And then I saw her again in 81 in Germany. Amazing story from being in a club. Still following what I was doing. And that time she was doing stage jazz and all that. And I was doing it here. Then I came back to Manchester. Amazing story. In 81 to 83, I hit it off with a girl from Bermuda who had come here for 2 years. Amazing story, to study, and she was doing performing arts. And I met her there, doing drama, because I wanted to pursue my drama skills. So the whole thing about professionalism came from my interactions with people, being involved in duos, soloing, and group work, was one of the key things I had. Cut a long story short, dance gave me transferable skills, and I went on to be one of the key individuals that to talk about dance gives us transferable skills. Don't judge a book by its cover. There's something called specialist skills in a world of occupation, and transferable skills. These classes or these talks I gave I was asked to come to Manchester Business School and do them, work alongside consultants there as an individual in 88, 89. I was asked to do that. And then in the 90s, I was asked to do it again. I went on a course myself about small businesses and talk about what small businesses need. And I was talking about they need to upgrade, they need to improve their professionalism, their teamwork, their organising and planning, their problem solving, and they must have research and development. A lot of small companies have great ideas, but they don't do research and development. I had a lab. So one of the key things in my professionalism for me, in my small business, I went to set up a school, I had a dance lab, keeping up to date what was current. Do you understand? And what happened, we looked at strengths, weaknesses, and the threat. The niche I had was I did a dance form that was unique to me. No one dances like me, because the whole idea of my art form from the beginning was to seek to be original, like the bebop, modern, and cool musicians, and same as the swing bands. Swing bands, black swing bands, learned to develop their own sound, their own feelings, their own ways of learning. Have you got that? And that's what I learned. I learned a lot from studying jazz. So I talked about research and development. I studied jazz inside out. By